Master Desmond, when
Yes.
people think of Feng Shui, right, they walk past different stalls, right, and then they see entire menus.
Yeah.
For example, you have the 八字, you have the
Yeah.
fortune reading, you have the
Yes.
palm reading, face reading. Let's go into 八字 first.
Yes.
How accurate is a 八字? And accuracy, it means, does it foretell your life? Or what is 八字? Please tell us more about this.
Okay. As a practitioner, of course, I would love to tell you is everything that you do inside there, right?
Yes.
So we you know whatever our fate is all written inside the 八字, right? So most of the time, our life do follow it. Is all of it? In my experience, no. All right, in my experience, the many ways there are many things that will mitigate a birth chart. For instance, a good deed done, you mitigate the birth chart. A bad deeds done, you mitigate the birth chart. So that, of course, would debunk the myth that once you are born with this particular birth chart, it's doomed to follow that. So not true. It can be mitigated through our actions. All right. So of course, to a certain extent, we will still follow the chart that is normally that will come with it. So is it accurate? If we interpret according to whatever it says in the book, for instance, the text, right? 子平 or 三明通会, that's usually the big branch of the knowledge is, yes, it does quite accurate. Now, the issue is when we interpret the text, that interpretation might be inaccurate. So that falls onto the experience of the practitioner. That will be different from one to the other. I feel that that's where the difference between practitioner in interpreting the past is, and how it works for that person. Yes.
From my limited understanding, I know 八字 does tell what kind of character a person has.
Yes.
Right? What are they more likely to attract or repel?
Yeah.
Right? So you're saying that someone can have a very good birth chart.
Yeah.
But throughout his life, the deeds done, he may not receive whatever blessings that he was supposed to have. And then these are the kind of people who would say, this is just a superstition.
Right.
Right?
So you ask also a very good point. So how do we read 八字? It boils down to that. So we always says 八字 always have two sides of a coin, right? In terms of character reading. For instance, if I read a 八字, the person, if it's conceived as what the 八字 says, he should be, let's say, tall, with very strong voice. But if the person comes in, look, it's the other way around, It doesn't seem to be what is described in 八字 to describe a person's look. It is not how he looks is written in the 八字. Therefore, we say, well, this person is not in character with the 八字. The interpretation would therefore have to go with that, the other side of interpretation of the 八字. In short, you cannot interpret the 八字 accurately without seeing the person in person. Yeah. So that will determine how it's being interpreted.
So we have that table with the 8 characters. So if he's born with this and his character is different, so how do you know what is the deviation or what to
Yeah, so that again, there is, of course, there is a guide to this. So in our language, you go 成格或者不成格. That means it's what the 八字 says, but it doesn't seem to be what described that we don't have 不成格, right? 不成格, that means it doesn't inform in sync with the character of what is described in the eight characters. In other words, it's not in the form. That's the actual translation. 成格, not in the form of what the 八字 says, and that person is in the form of 八字 says. Then the interpretation will have to go to in the form or not in the form. Now, how much is not in the form, and therefore look at the 8 characters and we determine, okay, this is where it deviates. And every 八字 will have always 2 sides of a coin reading. For example, right, a wood, there's always a good side, and there's also a flip side. Then we take the flip side reading. of that particular character, for instance. But is it totally flip side? May not be, because you have so much pillars, right? You have the year pillar, you have the month pillar, you have the day pillar, and you have the time pillar. So that will mitigate. The flip side may be also a good side of the flip side, for instance. So it becomes a very complex system to
Yes,
read.
it's layers and layers.
Yes. So how do we determine how to read? Then again, it depends on number one, the training of the practitioner, and also the experience of the practitioner, how to read that to determine. Once we determine the characteristics of it, therefore we can tell now, by virtue of the character of the person, what will it be like in, let's say, this year, or the next 10 years, the general direction of the trajectory, you see, of the person's work or life, how will it be? So it says, yeah, certain times that you say, oh, well, it's not really accurate, So then we ask ourselves, is there such thing as called, once your parts will say a certain pathway, and if I do certain things, the pathway doesn't deviate, it does. The pathway may not be rosy, let's say you have been read, but in the 1 year or two, I did very good things, right? I saved a life. Let's say you saved a drowning person, or your pathway begin to change. You see, so it does change in that sense. Not that the reading is inaccurate, but the deeds that has been done before, and that's where it has been mitigated. You see, yeah.
So to our audience, you heard that. Please do more good deeds. Stop the bad deeds. Okay. So when we talk about finding places like homes and offices, why is it that you require the parts of the person?
Okay. So in the 八字 will determine for us, right, the good spaces and the bad spaces in the house that's being let's say the person wants to stay in that, right? So that's one part of it. 八字 also can help us to determine which is a good direction for a person to stay in before we even select a house or choose a house to stay in. And also 八字 also will tell us, let's say, look, I'm from the reading, I know the next 10 years, the person is going through probably a not very, desirable way forward in the luck cycle. Well, let me see how we can do in the house to help him. But which part of the house to help which part of his life, would therefore the 八字 will able to determine on that. Or the next 10 years person is going to be really good. Let's enhance his luck in the house. All right. So in other words, the 八字 it's able to mitigate a person's life, right? So how does it work? The three elements to it in a Feng Shui. We call it 天地人, right? So the heaven, just plain translation, the heaven, the earth, and the human. Heaven means timing, right? The time at the person that stays in that space, and 人 means the 八字, how would it interact with the space over the course of time? So your 人 as the 八字. So how does the 八字, right, interact with the space, which is 地, right, over the course of time, which is 天, you see. So as a practitioner, we normally and we would love to work on these three elements all at the same time, and that's how we mitigate, the person's luck, and that's where 八字 becomes very important. In order to conceive of complete Feng Shui, of course, the time, the space, the last formula is the person, how it is respond. That is the only living thing that's in there, isn't it?
That's right.
Time will just go, the space will just go, but how the living things, in this case, will be the dwellers like myself and yourself will respond to the time and space. And 八字 is the very determining factor in it.
So it seems that one cannot really escape his fate, if that's the case.
If you go by, we call it chance, right?
Yes.
Happenstance. That's luck. That's
luck.
Then you live to the cost of fate. But if you find a practitioner to come pick for you, then you're not leaving it to chance. At least you have mitigated to a certain extent to able to improve. I'm not saying once you get the practitioner, all the bad things will go away, all the good things will come. But at least it's mitigated, you see. The bad things may come, but it's reduced. Yeah. The good things will come, but it's also enhanced to a certain extent. 八字 tells us the potential, one which can expand it to, right? There's a limit and it's finite. That how much a person can get for growth, right? So the purpose of Feng Shui is to magnify that potential, the good one, of course, to its maximum as is possible, as provided in the 八字.
Okay, we'll move on to Feng Shui in a business setting
Yes.
or even a work environment.
Yeah.
Okay, for example, when we design offices,
Yeah.
we always design the boss being in a position where
Yes.
he can see everything.
Yeah.
So he's in the, it's like the, how we call it, the parliament by camera system where you can see everything.
Yeah.
And, you know, how do you think, or based on your experience, what are different types of work environments have you been involved in the design? Some people like open office spaces,
Yes.
right? You just make sure everyone is complying.
Yes.
Or you give your employees like a big room for them to go and, you know, have collaborations. And how interlocked is design and Feng Shui if in this case?
Oh, that's a lot to unpack.
Yes.
One, a practitioner must study the type of business that is it. We cannot use a one size fits all.
Right.
Just a house, right? We can use a one size fits all to everybody. Business is even more dynamic. You have a lot of people involved, and the type of business will be different, and the way the bosses parts is also different. All this must get into consideration. But I think the most important is the type of business that my clients are in. For instance, a business that does audits. So a lot of information are private and confidential, even the stuff that they are doing. You cannot expect for me to design an open concept, for them where everybody reads everybody's information. That will not work for the particular. So I have to design with quite a lot of compartment. So it's quite compartmentalized. Of course, Feng Shui, once you start compartmentalized, he have his own advantage and disadvantages. Of course, let's talk about disadvantages. The main disadvantage, one compartment will take one qi away, and qi is finite normally in a space. So it becomes, once you take the qi away in one compartment, too many compartments, the qi become very weak.
Right.
You see? So in certain spaces, they might suffer, right? If we so to speak. So open spaces, the qi is all, it's more like shared and everything. But in that type of business, you can't, because it's audit information are really private and confidential. Of course, in a trading floor, you want to be open so people can interact, right? So you want as open as possible. So again, the Feng Shui concept of it, design in the space will be quite different. So yes, in terms of interior design, it's quite closely related. And if you look at in the past, historically, the Feng Shui master is the one that's designing the space, along with the architects. I'm looking at ancient China, yes, this is how it works before. So yes, even by today, that behavior or that trend, it is still in there. And I hope people are really working together with practitioner and the designer itself. You can't go away. It's hand in hand. It's two different branch of knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah. So when we talk about compartmentalizing these qi, right, for the individual staff themselves, they have their home energy and they have their work energy.
Yes.
Does that mean that they'll be affected in some way at work and they may not feel as, for example, productive, or they don't get along well with colleagues, for example? Is that part of the side effects?
So two things we need to consider. One, it's how much space we use in each places, right? Let's say, I'm a workaholic, I work 12 hours, right? By the time I travel home, I eat, I use my house probably every day, 8 hours, probably go home. I after prepare 8 hours means including sleep, and meals, right? So by traveling time, you take it off, I'll probably stay 8 hours at home. Go home, have dinner, shower next day, wake up quickly, just go to work. My Singaporean lifestyle, probably we work a lot more than the others. So I spend 12 hours in the office. So the office Feng Shui becomes very important.
Because you spend more time there than at home,
Yeah. Then you will affect you. So predominantly how the office is set up will affect that particular person. That's one. Two, well, I still spend 8 hours out of 24, isn't it? That's about 1/3 of my of my space that I'm in. So that again is it has a certain impact. Now, where is my house, the direction of my house, and of course the direction of my office does have an effect. Do they clash? Do they not? You see? Or do they enhance each other, or just neutral? That is a study which means since they spend 1/3 of their time there, it will affect them 1/3 of their working experience in terms of feng shui wise. So that's where the relationship comes from. So the two. Yes.
So it's in the best interest of the boss to actually do up the office in a more conducive way.
Okay. So for the bosses, normally how feng shui is being practiced, at least for me, is I would love to see the boss's house and determine the directions that the office should be in. All right, where the office is. At the same time, based on his birth chart, what is his most ideal number one direction? So we rank 1, 2, and 3. Oh, this is the best direction you should have, and let's go for that one particular office that they have. All right. So that's the way to choose it. At the same time, you still have to be in harmony with the house. Right. So there's a lot of layers to it just to pick an office. When that is done, at least I know the house works for the business owner, and office also complemented with the house, or the house complement with the business owner at the office. So in both ways, the space do not clash. Let's say the business owner says, I'm going to branch elsewhere, other countries. So that office direction can therefore have to harmonize with the headquarter.
Right.
Yeah. So are those in food industry, right? The HQ is here. Well, I have this food business. I want to branch out, So all the directions in the food business will therefore have to be incongruent with the head office and the rest of the branches if they are the same brand. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so if you guys want to know more in depth, you can consult Master Desmond directly. We will not cover that big topic here on this show today. Okay, let's move into the personal side.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm very sure you have a lot of one-to-one consultations with people. What do they usually expect when they come and see you at the start? I can imagine it's always, when am I going to get married? When am I going to have children? How's my career going to be like? Or I have issues with my family or my in-laws. What are the top 4 or top 5 questions? And what happens as well if whatever you tell them and you try to help them don't help them?
So who comes through the door, right?
Yes.
That's a big question. Who comes through the door? A big bulk of my clients come through the door will also have an issue at least one issue that's bothering them, and they have to resolve it, right? So that is something that we have to come in with a question. Then we go back to it. Of course, go back to the 八字 before we study the space. Sometimes we need to study the space to answer, but most of the time we need to study the 八字. So when they come through and when they ask about their fate and everything, so when they ask about certain questions, and I'll say, look, this is the way to solve. In my opinion, this is the way that we can solve problems. So there are 2 ways to read an issue. One will probably foretell now and foretell the future, and that's it. This is the pathway forward. To me, that's doom and gloom, you know what I mean? You're doomed to follow this path, and you have to go through it. Bite the bullet, and just go through it. I'm more in the position whereby I feel that we try our best to mitigate. So normally, I would suggest the pathway forward to mitigate the issue. I use the word mitigate. Some issues cannot be solved. It cannot be solved. But let's do it in such a way that let's reduce the problem. Let's reduce the crisis. For instance, right, one come through the door. Look, I've been scammed. My life saving of 300,000. I just got this case. What can I do to recover 300,000? Right. So if the police and the financial people tell you there's no way, money already out, there's no way you can cover, I cannot expect a miracle from the consultation, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Look, we only can help, right, to see what are the directions to seek help, where and how, and hopefully along the way you can meet the right people to recover some of my money back, which she did not recover all, but some of the money back. You see, so that's going to mitigate, right? But she meet the right people at the right time, where and how. Yeah. So this is normally the way I work, at least. I don't suggest pathway to see how we can help that person to best works for them. And usually it's in a consultation like that, it's a two-way. Consultation is never one way.
That's right.
Consultation never say, I tell you is doom and gloom, this way, or you're done, you see. So normally we explore the possibilities. What are the possibilities that you can have? Who are the pathways? Who are the people that can come and help you? If you have the chart, it will be the best. If you can't, okay, at least this is the way that we can go about doing it. So normally the consultation is a two-way. Just like in the corporate consultation, I have this problem. All right, okay, go. Okay. And we are facing this issue. Good. Who are your team? That's normally I will ask. Who are your team in there? And what your team can do. Good. So now we know all the information. Let's sit down and ask ourselves, what does the pathway says in the Bazi or Feng Shui says? Let's explore this with this team, explore that with that team, and therefore we can come up with the solution. In other words, Feng Shui and the Bazi forms a framework for which we can pull in all the resources in to make it work.
So what do you have to say to those people who said, if your Feng Shui master is so good, right, he would have told you, stay at home for 7 days and then you wouldn't get scammed. You know this kind of that's a naysayers, let's call it.
Yeah. Some people say yes. Unfortunately, who would follow a Feng Shui master's advice 100%? I mean, let's make it this way. Do we even follow our parents' advice 100%? We don't know. That's a fact, isn't it? So, yeah, it's a fact, you know what I mean? And it is not true. I mean, some people will see Feng Shui master as if we know everything, almost like godlike, you see. No matter Feng Shui masters are just human beings. You see, yeah, we cannot see everything 100%. We would like to, we would love to, but that's not possible. Yeah.
Some people believe that luck can be seen in a person's appearance.
Yes.
What is your view on this?
So it comes to face reading, isn't it? Or whatever reading, palm reading. Yeah. Yes, we can do. Of course, you can do that. So the question is, how much time frame can you see it? In the past, you can see over a stretch of 40 years, 60 years, 50 years. But face reading, all those are quite instantaneous. And you can see probably over 7 days, tell us somewhere or within a month, or a season. To be more conservative, it's usually a season. Every season, the luck may change. So yes, from the person's look, you probably can tell, yeah, it's good or bad, or it's not desirable, or it's going to be good, or you can go ahead and do whatever you want.
Can you give us the top few things that you look for in a person's face to be able to give you a rough guide of how this person is doing?
Good. So it's quite common to see people with the forehead, 印堂, right? So here, it becomes a bit darkish, dark. They're not born like that, but certain time, say you meet your friends, oh my God, it's just dark and everything. And of course, the side of here, it begins to darken. You can almost be certain the person is having bad luck. Nothing goes well. Nothing can be for certain. Another way to tell if the person is ill health, right? When the ears turn dark and gray, and of course the face look pale. If the ears turn dark and gray, it's in very bad health. Yeah, if doesn't seek medical treatment, it's going to be very, very bad. You notice when I use medical treatment, when in bad health, don't look for any other things, look for your doctor. Yeah. The first line of defense when a person, we feel is in bad health, always look for a doctor, get a health check. That's the first line of defense. Then look for any other intervention. Yes.
So the face is actually a marker, right?
Yeah.
So is it possible to physically change the markers to change your luck?
So yeah, okay. So I'm talking about 气色, So it's different from, look, I want to have my eyes is not big enough. So let's go and do something to it, right?
Right.
And change it, So there are two schools of thought. Visual thinking, if I change anything on my face, it would therefore change my luck. For instance, if it had been said that in our line, if a nose is very straight and has a certain height, right? The person is destined to be a famous influencer or the actor,
Right.
For instance, good model, right? You see very good actors and models of it. Their nose is straight. Right? Actor, of course, you have more than that. You have a good voice that is clear, and the eyes, if they must have fire, you know what I mean? Then these people are destined to be, will do well in the social media space, right? Or in the entertainment world. So these are the thing. So once I change that, does it change? Maybe. So my school of thoughts is maybe, but I don't think it will last. Because the face reading is a reflection of the features that we have.
Yes.
The features, that's what it's the result of how we carry ourselves. In other words, our character. So it's all written on our face. 气色 read about more of the luck it is, right? More of the luck at that point in time, at this time frame, probably how good or bad for us. So the face feature will tell a lot more of our character. That's a more lasting way of seeing it. So by changing an operation with that, does it change? Perhaps, but in my personal opinion, I don't think it will. Yeah, whatever you're born with naturally, that should be the way.
Can you give us some examples of characters and shapes of what we have?
Normally, I tend to trust more people whose eyes are very bright, right? And when the person speaks, is very clear. It is not mumbling, Yeah, so the eyes is bright, the voice is clear, and the nose are just like yours, so that is not too high, not it is medium. You can be for sure this person is trustworthy. You see, so normally this is what I usually go for, right? And the person's ear, let's say years is always all the way go behind, or we call it here, almost stick to it, or you almost cannot see the years. These people are blessed with good luck most of the time. Yeah, it's about blessed. Yes.
So it's not really an appearance or how people see your ears. Oh, this guy. No, it's just very subconscious. Is it? Is that it?
Well, if you talk about face reading, right?
Yes.
Normally, a skillful face reader will just do a glance, will probably, okay, it's all framed up in the mind. So it's a preconceived idea, perhaps, but that is the way that we can start. So I'm not saying that we put people in pigeonholes,
Right.
and therefore we form the idea and that's it. We form. So that gives us a start to understand the person better. Then from there, through the conversation, after talking to the person with Basa, of course, through the conversation, we find out more about that person. So comes to employment, which is quite a common thing that I normally do for my clients, especially in the C-suites when they want to interview the C-suites, right? Those are the points that we take note from the face reading or from the Bazi, These are probably the questions that go to us to suss out which characteristics, if it's a good fit for the role.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So the face reading can only be used as an opener, but not the end all of everything.
Yeah. I do not encourage you to use it as a pigeonhole. Yeah, because there are so many elements around to it, to a person that more than the face reading and the parts itself. But we can use that as a guide, as an opening, as you say, right? To study the person at a particular angle. All right. And I always encourage we have to be open, Doesn't mean the angle that we explore may be the best angle. We have to look at other possibilities. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for watching. We have come to the end of this Feng Shui special. Please give us a subscribe. It gives us great pleasure to continue putting out great content for you. With that being said, we have added Desmond and Dian Academy's details in the description. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions regarding today's topic. And also, if you want a personal consultation for yourself, please give him a call. And I wish you a good one.
Thank you.